So Forex Factory is another great website that you can use for checking the news and just to see what's going on in the market before you really like jump into any trades. It's pretty simple. It's also color coded. You just want to look at the time that you're trading. We can see it's 7:15 p.m. where I am in New Jersey. And I just want to see if any currency pairs that I typically trade have any red folders, right? Because you want to know the currency pair at the time and the impact. Now it's about four different color folders you can get. As long as you understand the gist of it, it's like understanding the lights in traffic. We know that red means stop, green means go, and yellow means slow down. So it's going to be a similar setup when it comes to looking at forexfactory.com. Yellow is pretty much okay. There's going to be nothing crazy about the market. It's going to be consistent. If it looks like it's going to buy here, it has a higher chance to buy there. When you see an orange folders are telling you that the market is a little bit wonky and your entry points may not be exact. You may lose some money there. In the red ones, the market is completely unpredictable. So basically, you just want to either, if you know you like to trade certain currency pairs, just make sure there's no red folders at the time. So that's basically what I'm going to glance to see here. And I can see I don't really have any red folders except GBP. So I will basically just avoid that. That's the first thing I want to do before I get into a trade. And this website is completely free. It takes less than 5 minutes to come over here, look at it, and give you a better idea as to what you're going to do when you actually get into the market. So then we come over to Tradingview, and you want to select the currency pair that you're going to trade. So the first thing that you can do is you can click on the screen and you can literally type it in. So I like to look at Euro USD. So I would type Euro USD and I would click the first one. And it would take me to my Euro USD chart. Now, once you do get the list of currency pairs that you like, you can always keep them on your screen at all times. You just would click this plus sign, search the currency pair that you want, and then add it. And then you'll see it'll pop up on your watch list. So when I'm looking for a trade, this is the simple strategy that I like to use. You can use this strategy for trading Forex. You can use this strategy for high frequency trading as well. It's just going to depend on the time frame that you are analyzing. So I have three indicators here. And I like to keep it as simple as possible because TradingView allows you to have three free indicators. So I like to keep it simple. Because if you can have it for free, why not, right? So the first indicator that I have is called the EMA, right? And I want you guys to write this down. That's just the moving average. And that's important because when we're getting into trades, we need to understand the trend, right? And we also need to understand the momentum, right? What is the trend? Why is everybody running, right? And where are they running, right? How fast are they going? That's what we need to know. So the EMA tells us that you can simply see when candles, we're going to look at this section right here. When the candles are below the EMA acts as a resistance, right? And Spicy just talked about resistance in her training. The market is going to be bouncing off of that and continuing to go down, right? So it's kind of like a stop, right? It's kind of like a stop, like a ceiling, like a roof. If the candles are below the EMA, we know that the market most likely is going to sell at that area. So that's one thing you want to look for a sell. Candles are below the EMA. Now, if you're looking for a buy, of course, it's going to be the opposite. Once you see candles break above the EMA, now you know you want to start looking for buys, right? And that's actually one of my favorite times to get into the market. I like specifically when crossovers happen because it gives me more confidence for my trade. So for example, if we were back here in the market was consolidating, and that's another tip too. If you see the market is consolidating, right? Wait, let me go back. If we see the market was below the EMA and it started to consolidate below the EMA, but then it broke above, right? Once it starts to consolidate above the EMA, we know we have a buying trend that started because this EMA is just a trend line. It's telling you if price is high or if price is low. So once the market starts consolidating above, the market is most likely going to go for a buy, just like when it starts consolidating below. And Spicy talked about this too. The market will go up, right, before it actually goes down. And that's exactly what happened, right? So the EMA is a great indicator. When I'm looking for a buy above, when I'm looking for a sell below. So that's going to take us to our next indicator. So we're going to focus on the sell still. Now, TradingView has all these really cool things that you can just use to kind of take notes at what you're seeing on the chart. And they stay on your chart as long as you want them to. So we're gonna look right here. And this is a perfect sell example. So we have our candles consolidating below the EMA. We have those rejections. That's something you want to look for if you're going for a sell. So that's one confirmation for a sell, right? And the question you can ask yourself, and you guys can write this down also, is, are my candles below the EMA, right? And if you get a yes, it's a confirmation for a sell. The second indicator down here that I use is called the momentum line, right? And it's just shortened as MOM. And you can find all of these indicators by simply clicking on indicators and searching the ones that I'm going through. And I have other videos on this as well. So with the momentum line, another confirmation that I look for if I'm looking for a sell is it needs to be this dotted line right here. If it's below this dotted line and facing down, that lets me know that price is also below average and the market is going to continue going down. Right now, what we will realize about trading the more we do it is it's actually pretty simple. And what you're really looking for is just alignment, right? We have a red candle. We already know reds are associated with sells. We have the candle below the EMA, letting us know that the trend is below average. We have the momentum line down, saying that price is going down. And it's also facing down, letting us know price is going down. And same thing with your stochastic. If it's facing down, most likely the market is going to continue to drop. And another thing about the stochastic, if this orange is above the blue, that's a confirmation for a sell. And if the blue is above the orange, that's a confirmation for a buy, right? So if you guys understand why this candle here was a sell and why it actually sold, if you understand what I just explained, just drop a 7 in the chat. And just let me know if it's making sense, right? Because the more you look at it, the more it becomes easy to see. And the more you know, the less anxious you get, right? So now we're going to do a buy example, and we just want to go, let me find a better buy example. All right, so here's a good buy example right here. So I'm going to put a line right here, and we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to turn it green. All right, I'm glad it's making sense. So for a buy, you want to see, again, if it's having some consolidation, sometimes you may not know which way to go because you may say, okay, this is resistance. I see it's been resisting. But then you also have to take it to the next step and say, is it consolidating above the EMA, letting you know price wants to go up? So in this case, we have the consolidation above the EMA. So that's one confirmation for a buy. But we have the actual candle, right? It crosses above, right? So that's confirmation number 1 or 2. Candles are above the EMA, letting us know the trend is high and price wants to go up, right? Well, I should actually, wait, let me find a better buy example because that's more of a reversal. Hold on. Because I don't want y'all to be confused. I want it to be a clear one. All right, so here's a good example here because we need everything to be aligned so that it makes sense and that you don't get confused. So with the buys, you want the candles to be above the EMA, which is 1. You also want the momentum line to be facing up. It has to be facing up and preferably above the dotted line because trades will trick you. Like it'll be facing up, but it'll be facing up below, right? And we don't need it facing below the dotted line because as we can see here, it continued to sell. So you want your momentum line to be actually facing up and preferably above this dotted line. That's going to be a confirmation that the market wants to continue to go up. And with the stochastic, you want it to be facing up, of course. Anything up, over, above, higher, anytime you see those things or ask yourself a question and that's in the answer, that's going to be associated with a buy. So the blue above the orange, buy. Stochastic facing up, buy. Stochastic above this 50% line, buy. Right? And then we can see the market actually went up for some time. So being able to identify these things for a buy or a sell will just give you more confidence when getting into your trade. And you can decide what you want to do when the market is actually fresh and in real time. So let's look at GBP USD, right? And let's look at the market for where it is right now to figure out, okay, what would I do in this situation? Now, I like to make decisions when the market is closer to the line, because when it's up here, it can continue to go up or it can be reversing right here. So I like to look at it on the week first, right? And then see what's happening on the week. So on the week, I can see that the candle is just formed because the week literally just started at 5 p.m. But I can see that the candle has crossed above the EMA, right? I can see that my momentum line is on the dotted line, but it's above. And I can also see that my stochastic is still facing up in the blue, above orange. So far, it looks like I might be taking a buy on the week. But this is why you check your different time frames. Now we can look at it on the day, right? And it's still above, right? This is now in the middle. So that gives us, okay, it's a little bit of confusion. And it looks like, okay, is the market going to reverse or is it going to continue to go up? Now, one tip that I do have when trading is that trade what you see, not what you want, right? Because the market is always going to reverse. It's always going to come down, but you have to be just checking your indicators. And if you get the answers for a buy, go for a buy. If you get the answers for a sell, go for a sell. So you just look at it across different time frames and you ask yourself the questions like, is it above the line? Is this facing up? Is this facing up? And whatever you get the most confirmations for the buy or for the sell, that is the trade that you're going to want to take. You really don't want to be confused about what's happening, because when you're indecisive, you're essentially risking more money than you have to. And again, the market just opened, so I'm getting mixed signals from this. And like Spicy mentioned earlier, if something looks unsure, you can just trade something else. You don't have to trade indecision, because that's how we end up losing money. That's really how we end up losing money. So let's look at AUD USD. We do the same thing. We start on a week. We can see that the candles are below the purple line. So that's one confirmation for a sell. We can see that the momentum line is facing down, right? That's another confirmation for a sell. And we can also see that, let's get a close up on this. The stochastic is kind of facing down. So in the week, we are mentally taking a note, okay, this market may continue to sell, right? And we know that if it's going to sell, it's only going to sell back down to the lowest place. So we already know where we would set our take profit line, right? Trading is really all about patterns, and you just have to look at it, right? If you can see that the market went up, it came down and went up, we can see that there's clearly a gap right here that has to be filled. If you guys can see that there's a gap that has to be filled from here to here, right, in order to complete the pattern, just drop a 7 in the chat, right? And let me know if that makes sense, right? The market is always going to try to fill the gap and correct itself before it actually goes the other way, right? So we have our confirmations for the sell so far. We have it under, and this is on the week. We have this down and this down. So far it's looking like, okay, let me put a line right here. I'm going to put a line at the last place of resistance, which is here. That's why I put my line right there, because the market went up and it looks like it's going to come back down. So now I'm going to go down to a smaller time frame, because once you establish what the market is doing on a week, and you can really start to look at smaller time frames and say, okay, I know it's selling for the week, but where should I get in on this trade? So we can look at it on the day. So we can see our weekly line is right here, and we can see it actually resisted off that line. But on the daily, right, I'm gonna add another horizontal line here, right? And the reason why I'm adding it here is because I can see this is a lot of resistance. Every time it, again, ironically, got close to the EMA, it's resisting off the EMA, right? If you guys can see the market resisting off the EMA, drop a 7 in the chat, right? So essentially, if we're getting into this trade for a sell, we can use our EMA as our stop loss, right? Because we know that's where the resistance is, but we're going to keep going down, right? And then it helps to zoom out your chart too, right? When we zoom out, we can see much clearer how this market has been going down for a very long time. And when we zoom out, we can see clearly how the EMA is resistance, and this gap ultimately has to be filled, right? If you guys can see that, drop a 7 in the chat. And this is going to help you when it comes to patience as well, right? Because the market may be doing this consolidating thing, but then it may sell. Like, look here, we can see for some time the market was consolidating, and then look, it sold, right? We can see the market was consolidating, and then it bought. So if you're using your confirmations correctly, you're going to end up making more money than you lose. You just got to be patient, because we should have the confidence to know this is going to sell, because 1, the gap has to be filled. 2, the EMA is used as resistance. 3, candles are under the EMA. The momentum line is below 0. And even though this is facing up, it's still below the 50% line, letting us know that the sellers still have a lot of control in this market. Now, you can just keep going down to your time frames, check the 4-hour, and you find a new level of resistance. Still very close to the EMA, right? So that can be your stop loss. And your TP, because the gap has to be filled, will be somewhere down here, right? The market has to correct itself. Before it can even think about really going up and buying, it's going to want to either come here, because that was the last level. It's going to want to come here. So this will be TP1, meaning we can secure profit here. And this could be TP2, meaning we could secure profit here. So basically, if I do drop this trade idea in the chat, it's going to be looking at, and then again, this is our weekly resistance. This is our daily resistance. This is our 4-hour resistance. We can go down to the hour, and we can see it's still looking like it's resisting, right? This is going to be a reversal trade where it's going to drop down. It's going to drop down. So yeah, guys, that's really what I'm just going to be showing y'all for today. These are the indicators I use. This is how I search for buys. It's how I search for sells. If I was going to take this trade, I would probably take this trade for a sell. I have a lot of confirmations for a sell. Like, even though it's above the EMA on the 1-hour, I have my confirmations on the higher time frame, right? I have my candle. This rejection right here telling me the market is going to, and look, it's literally selling in front of our faces, and it's going to sell down to here. So that could be a TP1, and it's potentially going to sell down to here, and then even down to here. So if you guys want also to take this demo trade, we can take AUD USD. I'm just going to enter it on my phone. AUD USD for a sell. And remember, with Forex trades, 0.01 is 10 cents, right? So we can just sell. And your stop loss will be here, right? Which is about 20 pips, but I typically do like 25. So yeah, we can go here. So the stop loss will be 0.67180. That's about 40 pips. And then you would do your TP at 40 pips as well. So let me just do it this way, y'all. It's the easiest way. All right, so you guys can just screenshot this or write it down as to the profit level is what your TP would be. And your stop level would be where your stop loss is if you were to take this trade for a sell. And again, you can only take the trade if it makes sense to you. But if you guys understand why this trade would be a sell based off of what we talked about today, and you can see the market going from, let me just get the pencil. You can see the market going from where it's at to here, just based on what we talked about today and the confirmations. Just drop a 7 in the chat. Okay. Okay, good. So hopefully you guys got into the Bitcoin trade. Hopefully you guys will take this trade as well. Even if it is just for a quick 10 pip TP, I just want you to test your knowledge. And there's so many different currency pairs that you can trade. I just know what works for me. So I like to trade any USD pairs, which is why you guys can see all these USD pairs over here. But you might learn that you like to trade Euro pairs. So you'll want to look at maybe Euro JPY and Euro GBP. And it's other pairs like is NZD CAD. You may want to look at this and you may see something different. Like you can trade any of these currency pairs. And then when you get really really good at understanding the charts, you can even trade stocks as well. Because let's see if we look at Tesla, right? We would have to look at it on a higher time frame on the weekly. But if you can understand the charts, you can say Tesla's clearly going up, right? It's way above the EMA. This is up. This is up. It's just up, right? You can even look at this on the monthly. So it's like the more you know, right? The more you know, the more you'll be able to trade. So you can trade Apple stock. You can trade whatever you want. Like as long as you know how to read the charts, you can really trade anything. Yeah, Apple having a little bit of a doozy right now, but it's probably going to continue to go up. So if you guys have any questions, just drop them in the chat now. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to ask any questions that you have. I will post these videos. Typically I post them in the chat within 24 hours. Keep me posted on your trades. When they move into profit, whether they hit stop loss, take profit, just take a screenshot and send it to me. All right, so it doesn't look like anybody has any questions. I will see y'all all tomorrow. I'll let y'all know if we're gonna have class at 2 p.m., 8 p.m., or both. This will be for our HFX sessions, but that's all for tonight, y'all. Thank y'all for coming, and I will see y'all in the chat. I will post this trade I did in the chat for people who are not here. But good night, everybody.